Welcome back to Coffee Time. Get you another cup of coffee. Enjoy the rest of the program today. Thursday morning, be Mr. Danny Cain, Walker County Extension Office. How you doing, sir?
I am doing well, man. It is great to be here this morning.
Glad to have you with us here on this rainy morning.
That's right. It got us a little rain weather, but at least it's not too awful cold.
Not too bad on the temperature time right now.
You know, it's a little chilly, but it is February, right. You know. So,
but the rain's going to continue on. We got a pretty good weekend though coming up ahead of us.
And we could really use the rain. You know, we're kind of dry out there for the time of the year it is, and
that's a good deal. Well, y'all keep continuing to be busy at your place.
We are. We stay active, involved in a lot of different things, and make just a couple of just real quick announcements. Just a reminder on our 4-H front, we are right in the middle of doing our chick chain sign up for the year, and we've still got slots open for chick chain. So if you're a young person, 4-H'er, or you're just a young person in general is interested in doing the 4-H chick chain project, we'd love to hear from you. We've like I said, we've got slots open. The registration fee for chick chain is $75, and that includes they get 12 pullets, 4 each of 3 different breeds. We'll do all the vaccination for you for some of the common avian diseases, and we do an educational program with our families. So you don't have to know already how to raise chickens or have ever raised chickens before.
And most of us haven't. Most
of them have not, and that's fine and good. That's really what we like, actually. And so it's a lot of fun. Our kids always have a great time with it, and we've.
Now they come in like 3 days old.
They'll be about 2 to 3 days old as we get them in the mail. They send them right through the U.S. Post Office, and so that always makes for a really fun morning too. When we get them all over at the extension, I would pick them up at the post office, get them to the extension office. Get them warmed up, get them fed, get them watered. And I appreciate my son Carson always comes up and helps us out with that. He did chick chain a number of years ago, and so he's still active in that, and he enjoys it.
You told me y'all still got some of those chicks that he did.
We do. We're still getting eggs from our chick chain chicks, and so it's just a lot of fun, and there's just something about we get them in May. That's when our chicks arrive. They'll raise them out all from brooder to out in the coop all the way through summertime. Then in fall, and usually about mid-October, we will have our show and our auction in conjunction with the folks there at Cordova with their festival, and about that time is when most of these birds will start laying. From about mid-October to about mid-November, they should start laying. And there's just something there. You can't really describe the excitement of getting that first egg out of your batch of chickens. There's just something about that.
I hear you. But that's a pretty good deal. You're getting 8, 10, 12 eggs a day.
That's right. You'll get the eggs. Then also at the show, the kids compete for cash prizes. We offer some cash prizes and various awards, plaques and ribbons, and so it's just a lot of fun. It's a great family project. We get families involved. Grandparents help the kids out with raising their chickens, and and parents and older brothers and sisters, and sometimes younger brothers and sisters, and it's a great project. We always look forward to it. But we've got slots open right now. If you'll just Miss Becky is busy in the in-school club, so if you have not had your in-school club meeting yet this month, Miss Becky will be certainly talking about chick chain.
Good deal.
Or you can call the extension office, and we'll be glad to help you out with that.
Good.
So, but that's one thing. Our summer camp slots have filled up. We've been talking about that a couple times, so we're full. But if you did not get on the list and your young person is still interested in going to camp, give us a call anyway. We do use a wait list, in case somebody it turns out that they can't go or they can't fill their slot, then we will take those in order that people call. And so there's still a chance to get into summer camp if you have not already registered. But Those two things, that's really on the 4-H front, that's what we're working on sign up right now, and looking forward to both of those. And
Well, you brought me some trees this morning.
we did. This is kind of this turned into kind of an annual event for us, and it coincides with Arbor Day and Arbor Week, and which is really just kind of a celebration of learning about trees, learning about why they are important to us, and those kind of things. So our forestry planning committee, and it's a fairly good-sized group of us, myself, the folks over at Soil and Water Conservation, the Forestry Commission guys, and some private landowners, all operating under what we call the Forestry Planning Committee. But we do put together these Arbor Week or Arbor Day bags that we take around to the schools and stuff. So we generally use or feature second graders, and so this year we actually and I'll show you what we've been, and we're going to take a dive in looking and see what all the kids get. We're going to do a little bit of learning here in just a second as well. This is the pack that they get, so a nice little backpack, and it's just full of forestry related kind of stuff. But we gathered over at the extension office earlier this week, and we assembled 750 of these.
A lot of bags.
So we're going to hit all the second grades in the Walker County school system. So so they're it's a lot of fun. Takes a lot of people, a lot of work. We had not only us, but we had master gardener volunteers. Came in and helped us to assemble the bags, and so not only do we just walk in and hand these off, but each school classroom also gets a presentation or program where we talk about trees, talk about why they're important, talk about how the trees grow. They learn how to plant their tree that they're going to get, and so we'll talk about that real quickly. But and I'll hold this up. This is the trees that we used for this year, and these are kind of special trees, in my opinion. These are southern longleaf pine. I always get asked the question, what kind of grass is that?
Yeah, right.
and that's for my grown-ups, by the way. And so this is not grass. It's southern longleaf pine, and there are a lot of reasons why I think this tree is kind of special to us. But this is our official state of Alabama state tree. Okay. It's one of about 9 species of pine trees that are native to Alabama, but this is the one that is the Alabama state tree, and it's also the one that makes it makes high quality wood for the lumber industry down the line. It also it's the one that makes the really large pine cones that a lot of people use in decorations and those kind of things. So we are kind of right on the fringe, right on the edge, northern edge of the native range for longleaf pine. So that's what we decided to use for this year. Now this is what we call a containerized plug. Tree plant companies and tree plant crews would plant this just like that, out at large scale.
Okay.
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres even, and this is exactly what they use a tool called a dibble, which works just like a little spade or a shovel, and they wedge out, they drop the tree seedling in, pack it in, and it's good to go. Okay. Now this particular tree is in the what we call the grass stage, okay, which is kind of unique to our longleaf pines. The grass stage, and you can tell up there at the top what everybody calls grass. These are actually pine needles, or if it were a deciduous tree, an oak or hickory or something, we would call it leaves. Yeah. Okay, they serve the same function. This is the leaves of the tree, and it gets its name because of these very, very long needles compared to the rest of our pines. Hence the name longleaf pine. Okay. And this is also if you've ever gone to a nursery or greenhouse and bought pine straw to use for mulch, this is generally the straw that they will sell in bales that you use for mulch. So that's another aspect of the economic value of these trees is the straw or the mulch industry as well. So. No, it will stay in this stage for about 2 to 3 years or so, sometimes a little longer, sometimes a little less. And then, just like magic on cue, from out of the very center of this plug, it will start to shoot the stem up. Now, we don't see a stem right now. It's where a lot of people think that it's grass. So it will shoot the stem up out of the center of this clump of leaves or needles, and will continue to grow then. And mature height on this thing will get probably has the potential to get 60 to 80 feet tall or so. Maybe
that's per tree.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But again, it makes a very high value lumber when it's cut into dimensional wood, and so in the range where these will grow in the right site, longleaf pine is certainly desirable. So we talk to the kids about all of that. We talk to the kids about what do we get from trees? What do the trees give us? And so this is where we like to get our input from. And it's really amazing at second grade how much they really know. So we got some teachers out there in schools that does an outstanding job with their classes, and but they'll mention things like the trees give us oxygen.
Right.
It cleans our air. It gives us oxygen as a byproduct really of photosynthesis. It takes in carbon dioxide, which is really bad for us, and gives off oxygen. Okay, so that's all in the process of making photosynthesis up here in the leaves. So we talk about that, and they will mention, that we get food from trees, apples, peaches, pears, plums, all of the, pecans and all those kinds of nut trees. So a lot of food comes from our trees. They will talk to me about it makes homes for animals, and you've known me long enough that you know that I love wildlife animals. I enjoy being outdoors, and I love wildlife. So it makes food and homes and shelters and stuff for our wildlife animals. And there are a lot of other things too. They will mention the fact that we get wood from these trees to build houses and homes. Paper products that we use every day. Paper to write on, to make books with, pencils, furniture. All those kind of things. A lot of our medicines actually come from various kinds of trees. So very useful. So we start off, by realizing how important these trees really are to us. And then we kind of challenge their thinking a little bit for second graders, and I pose the question always, have any of you heard that it's always bad to cut down trees? Okay, and most of them will raise their hand. Yes, I've heard that. So here's where the thought process comes in. If you've got to realize how much of these products we need every day. The paper products, napkins, paper towels, paper to write on books, all those kinds of things that we mentioned, lumber to build our homes and stuff with. So we have to have those. And so we cut a lot of trees in Alabama. It's one of our biggest industries statewide. So we cut trees in Alabama by the millions, literally. But the take-home word that our kids learn, trees are a renewable natural resource. And renewable simply means we can plant more, we can grow more. So we're not running out of trees. Our current forest is in good shape, really. We're still statewide about 70% in forested land. And our current stands are generally healthier now, really because of management practices and stuff than they were many years ago. So we're doing some good things.
Most of the time when you see a cut, you see a week later, you see the seedlings already.
Yeah.
They're coming back in.
Yeah, and a lot of times actually specific to pine, a lot of times what you'll see is a clear cut, and sometimes they're fairly large areas.
Right.
They really are.
Acres and acres.
And a lot of times they will fallow that land till the next growing season, and they do that for a specific reason, and that is because of an insect called Paley's weevil, which gets in pine tree seedlings and stuff. So you have to have a gap in there between the harvest and the plant that helps to cut down the incidence of that insect. So that's why you see a lot of times a gap in time between when we harvest trees and then when we get to tree plant crews back in here the following winter to plant those trees back. We learn some other things about our trees as well. we learn how to plant our tree, okay, which is really important. If we're going to give them a tree seedling, they need to know how to plant it, okay? So this is like I said, it's a containerized tree. So we're going to plant our tree exactly the depth of the root ball, and that works the same if you go to the nursery and buy an ornamental plant, azaleas and roses and those kind of things. You plant it the same depth as the root ball, okay? We're going to make sure that it stays watered. Hopefully we'll get these trees in the ground here today, and or maybe the earlier week when we're in the schools, they got those in the ground already in anticipation of the rainfall that we hopefully will get this coming weekend, and so then, they'll be ready to go, but they need to stay watered, mulched. They need a lot of sunlight. Pines grow best in full sun, okay? We also remind our kids, working with parents to make sure that you don't plant your, remembering the full-size height of these trees, don't plant it right up against the house or right up against the driveway or underneath the power lines. We grown-ups have made all of those mistakes before, because these things do get quite large. So we ask, it's a good chance for the kid to work with a parent or grandparent or whoever to plant their tree. We also remind our kids, now I have a lot of trouble with my grown-ups with this. When we hand these trees out, we put them in the bag to keep from making the mess here that I've made on your table or your desk here. First thing we tell them when you go to plant your tree, you must take it out from the plastic baggie. A lot of my grown-ups don't realize that, and they just dig the hole and put the thing in there, and there you go. And as sure as the world, the tree dies, because the roots take in water, takes in nutrients, and so it can't do that in a plastic baggie. So those are things that we tell our kids about planting their tree, And we hope that they enjoy them and watch them grow and those kind of things. But show you just real quickly a few of the things that we have in our pack. They all get now these are second graders, mind you. They get a coloring book. This is put out by the Forestry Commission. It's called Let's Learn About Trees. Okay, so they all get a copy of that to take home. And they get some various forestry related doodads, there's a pencil, and here's a little clip that I find these very handy. There's a Smoky Bear eraser, and here's what I was really looking for. I think this is the coolest thing that we put in there. They get their very own what we call a tree cookie, okay? And then we have a little discussion about what exactly can you learn from a tree cookie. It just looks like a piece of wood to most of us, but what they do is they cut cross sections across a limb or something like that. So I brought a little larger one here so that we can actually see it. And so what you can look at from your tree cookie is we've all heard of the tree rings, and you can look at that. Now the tree rings come in two different colors. The lighter colored ones are the spring growth rings, and the darker colored ones are the late summer, fall growth rings. You'll notice the lighter colored ones are generally wider because the tree during spring and early part of summer grows faster than in the cooler, drier parts of the year. So they can actually count those rings back and tell how old the tree was. And if we have time, we even do a little activity called Tree Cookie History, where they can count back and on their tree ring and their tree cookie and say, this is the year that I was born. This is the year that we got our pet, or this is the year. Some things that are important to them, and so they can do their own little personal history right there on their tree cookie. One of them, one kid very astutely pointed out that if I was going to put my birthday on there, I would need a bigger tree cookie because there wasn't enough rings on there to count back to my birthday.
Exactly
And that was very astute. So, I do. You can tell a lot about growing conditions, the weather conditions back then of the tree, because the wider those rings are apart, the faster the tree grew. So in long periods of dry weather, it doesn't grow as fast, so the rings are going to be a lot smaller, a lot closer together. Okay. If they're planted in a forested site, for example, with too many trees growing too close together, they don't grow as fast. So we maybe come in and we cut a few of the trees around that tree, and now it grows faster. So we can tell a lot about what's going on in the history of that tree
This
from
is
looking
a
at the
great,
key ring.
great little,
Or
all
tree.
second graders.
All second graders.
Wow,
And
that's
we
a great
we have
project.
had I'll say this, we have had a ball visiting with our
That's
second
good.
graders this time. They're really a great age and a great bunch of kids, and great job by the school teachers with these kids. You know?
Great project, great project. All right, tell us how to get with you.
Yeah, you can reach us at the Walker County Extension Office at 205-221-3392, or just stop by and visit us. We're out there on Airport Road, right in front of the 911 tower. Or visit us on that big old World Wide Web, www.aces, that's aces.edu.
Danny, thanks a bunch.
Appreciate you having us.
All
Thank
right,
you.
See you again. We're going to take a break. We'll come right back with more Coffee Time.